Good morning, class 8. Welcome back to your biology classroom once again. Today I am going to discuss exercise of this chapter. So let's start the exercise. First, pick the most appropriate answer, but I will discuss only answer. The simple division of an organism into two smaller daughter cells of roughly equal size is called binary fission. Which of these can be reproduced by its stem? Rose. An incomplete flower with only androecium is called staminate flower. Flowers which have all the four holes are called complete flowers. Which of the following is an artificial process? Grafting. In cross-pollination, pollen grains from the anther of a flower are transferred to the stigma of flower of another plant of different species. Next, a pollen tube grows through the style. Seeds are produced from ovules. Next, fertilization takes place inside the ovary. And the last one, a plant embryo consists of cotyledons and embryonal axis. Next, fill in the blanks. During unfavorable condition, some organisms develop a thick protective covering called cyst around themselves. The small outgrowth arising from the yeast cell is called bud. The gynoecium consists of stamen, filament, and anther. Pollination taking place between two flowers present on the two separate parent plant is called cross-pollination. The process by which a dormant embryo becomes active and grows into a new plant is known as germination. Next, true false. Sexual reproduction involves the fusion of an egg cell and a male gamete. True. The development of a new plant from the vegetative part of a flowering plant is called fragmentation. False. A whole new plant can grow from the eye of a potato tuber. True. Cutting and the layering are natural methods of asexual reproduction. False. A male gamete travels down the pollen tube and fuses with the egg cell inside the ovule. True. Next, define the following terms. Multiple fission. Multiple fission किसको बोलेंगे? During unfavorable condition, some organism develop a thick protective layer that is known as cyst around themselves. Inside the cyst, basically the nucleus divide further time and produced many daughter cell, and getting favorable condition, the daughter cell detached from the parent plants and grow into another individual plant. This process is also known as multiple fission. Basically, this process is found in case of chlorella and chlamydomonas. What is budding? Budding is the asexual reproduction process. It is found in case of yeast. Here, budding, I mean bud-like outgrowth is found inside the parent body. And after getting maturity, the bud detach from the parent plant and start to grow an individual parent plant. What is gynoecium? Gynoecium is the female reproductive part. It consists of style, stigma, and ovary. What is vegetative propagation? Vegetative propagation is the faster artificial sexual method by which we can grow more plant at a time. Basically, this process is found where plant do not make seeds. Next, self-pollination. Self-pollination हम किसको बोलेंगे? The pollination taking place between the same flowers of the same plants or the another flower of the same plants. Then the pollination will be called self-pollination. Cross-pollination तब हम किसको बोलेंगे? When the pollination takes place between two another flowers of the two separate plants, then it is known as cross-pollination. Fertilization. Fertilization is a process where the female gamete is fused by male gamete and form a single cell that is known as zygote. What is germination? Germination is a process whereas a dormant seed become active after getting favorable condition and start to grow a new plant. That is known as germination. Next, differentiate the betweens. You will learn the differentiation from your book. Next, answer in one word. The method of reproduction that occurs in amoeba and paramecium, that is binary fission. An organism that reproduces by spore formation, it is known as rhizopas, bread mold. A plant reproducing by adventitious buds on the margin of their leaves, that is bryophyllum. A plant propagated by grafting, mango. The female reproductive part of a flower, gynoecium. The result of fusion of two gametes, this process is also known as fertilization. Next, answer the following in short. Binary fission. What is the binary fission? Binary fission is the artificial asexual reproduction process whereas the parent plant divide into two equal size of daughter cell. That is binary fission. What is rhizome? Rhizome is short branch underground stem. It has distinct nodes and internodes through which it can grow individual plant. How do plants such as a bryophyllum propagates? In case of bryophyllum, they have adventitious buds on the margin of their leaves. When the leaves fall off, then after getting favorable condition, buds start to grow into a new plant. Write two disadvantages of vegetative propagation. Normally, in case of vegetative propagation, the offsprings are identical their parent plants. That's why they are prone to the same disease, infection, or inferior qualities. Same way, there is a huge chance of overcrowding because they have no chance for seed dispersal. What is tissue culture? Tissue culture is an artificial reproduction process which takes place under laboratory supervision. Mention the changes that occur in a flower after fertilization. After fertilization, basically, sepals, petals, stamen fall off. Same way, style and stigma disappear and the single cell zygote start divide and form a new cell that is known as embryo. Next, there is no need to write down the all long question answer because your question will be MCQ types. Next, correct the sequence of the following steps to describe the process of fertilization in plants. मतलब ये rearrange करना है. First क्या होगा? The pollen grain is deposited on the stigma. The pollen grain begins to grow into a pollen tube. After that, the male gamete travels down each pollen tube. Next, the pollen tube grows down through the style to the ovary. Next, the nucleus of pollen tube divides to form a male gametes. And after that, the last one, the fusion of male gametes with the female gamete occurs inside the ovule. Last one, the diagrams illustrate the structure of a flower. Normally, ये point out करना है. These are petals, that is stigma, that is anther, that is ovary, inside the ovary, that is ovule, and that is thalamus. Next, which part produce pollen grains? Anther. Same way, which part receive pollen grains for pollination? That is stigma. So student, hope all of you understood what I've discussed in this video. So you will start write all these question answer in your biology copy, as because you have to submit it before your second term exam. No need to write all these long question answers. Just write down what I have discussed. So for today, after this portion, in the next class, I will start next chapter.